This conversation about doctors telling you you're fat or not telling you is in relation to news that up to 8 million more adults in the UK could soon be labelled obese. This is as medical professionals around the world are thinking of changing the current BMI system that used to measure weight. They're suggesting adding waist size, oh gosh, and waist to height ratio, oh no, to give fuller insight into whether someone really is carrying unhealthy body fat or not. It would mean that obesity levels in Britain would rise dramatically by 60%. Meaning that 21 million adults would now be told, excuse me, you're obese. But is it helpful to be told you're overweight? Why don't we start with the slimmest and most svelte gentleman of all? Ian, do you think it helps to say to someone you're overweight, you're fat?
No, you get much more with sugar than you do vinegar, and that's just going to alienate a person. Many fat people know they're fat. If they're at the doctor's surgery, let the doctor set time aside to prescribe a diet, to measure the diet with the effectiveness, then get them back in. To say you're fat, a fat person, many know they're fat, the same as a person who walks with a limp knows that his gait isn't correct. It's how you approach it, and I think that I like straight talking, but that's brutal.
What do you think, Jemma?
I think the word fat, would just insult. And I think if at the heart of your eating problem is an emotional sort of response to food that you use for comfort or when you're feeling low, you're going to go home from the doctor's and eat a packet of biscuits almost as an act of rebellion. However, I think this is a really positive move in terms of changing the BMI thing, which has been out of date and misleading for a long time. I also think, given that it's such an issue for the NHS, obesity, it's linked to so much disease, it is probably within doctors' rights to just in a compassionate way say, how are you getting on, like in terms of lifestyle? Like, are you active? And to ask questions like that might lead to a discussion about their weight.
What about if they said, I've got the fat jab in my desk, want one? Want to try it? If they had enough of it, if supplies were abundant, they could say, are you struggling? And if the person said yes, they might be able to say, well, I've got something that could get you started. That would be a help, wouldn't it?
Now, you know more about these than me, because I know that some people talk about long-term effects, but I kind of think if there's something there that can help people block out the noise, then isn't that a great thing? Doesn't that solve a lot of problems? I have a naturally skinny friend the other day who was moaning, saying, this has always been my superpower. It's really annoying. Other people can have it now via a jab.
Let me talk about this with you, Tiggy, because, weight is an issue and it's something that we all, I famously failed the battle with it. I would yo-yo around the place like nobody's business, and yet it was everybody's business. Everyone was always writing about it. Pictures of my bottom on the front cover of magazines, really embarrassing and humiliating, really horrible. It's not an easy one, this one, is it?
It's certainly not. And I actually write in my book about the fact I put on so much weight last year with Johnny because you're running off cortisol and stress and you're doing the Keep Johnny Happy diet, which is, he wanted carbs, so I ate too many carbs, and the sheer stress of everything. So I put on a load of weight and I'm still working really hard to bring it off in a healthy way.
How would you feel though if you saw a doctor and you went to see a doctor with some other complaint and the doctor said, Tiggy, you've gained weight? How would you feel?
I would have to say, I know I have. And I think there wouldn't be any point in them saying it unless they could help in some way. Now, what I genuinely feel about our medical profession is they know very little about weight. I don't think they do enough at college learning about weight management. And I think possibly within GP surgeries, they need to start thinking about having weight clinics. There are heart clinics. There are all sorts of clinics. Because as you say, weight it's psychological. I mean, last year I must have turned to food as a comfort thing. So, and if somebody just says,
that's entirely understandable. You couldn't leave the house. No. You were exhausted. You were already grief-stricken because you knew what you were going to face. You were losing your beloved partner. My God, and what else could you do? You were stuck there. Of course it's like lockdown when everyone turned to the biscuit tin, isn't it? Or baked banana bread and then ate it. Because what else were you supposed to do?
But weight is so much. It is exercise. It is about cooking for yourself. It's cooking the right things. But of course, we're all individual and different things work for different people. It might be a lack of supplements.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's hormonal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Like you said about the cortisol, I was reading the other day, it goes straight to your midriff, which is the dangerous bit as a woman. So it's like, it is a bit of a minefield.
Yes, no, that definitely happened to me with menopause. So it's a deeply complex area. And I think just a simple, you're fat, you've got to do something about it, is very difficult. You've got to handle people very gently. Maybe a doctor could say, if there were sort of weight clinics, we've got a new weight clinic, would you be interested in being referred? Because it might just help you live your life better if you felt a little lighter.
So maybe address it, but with gentleness.
Yes, I think it's all about health at the end of the day.
We've had a few people getting in touch online about this. You can get in touch on the phone 0207 862 2222. Michael on Facebook says, my GP sent emails out yesterday telling the village as much. According to our records, your health would benefit from losing some weight. This was sent to a few I know, myself included.
Gosh.
Whoa, it's an email.
What an email.
Truth.
That's cruel.
God, what about, have a great Halloween? I don't know about we think you look fat. That's not very nice.
I think you go and open a bottle of wine immediately,
God,
wouldn't you?
absolutely. Crack open an apple pie and celebrate with a chocolate mousse. My God. Erin on Facebook says, fat people know they're fat. What they need is help and advice on how to lose weight.
Yeah.
And she says, being a little overweight is very different from obesity, and those with a large amount to lose do need better support.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, some people are eating too much because they don't know what they're doing, or they haven't paid attention, or life runs away with them. Lots of people know they turn to food as a crutch. Not silly. They know what they're doing, and they probably know why.
Yeah, we live in an obesogenic environment, which means everywhere you turn, there's fast food outlets, there's sort of processed food. We've all lead very stressful lives, so you turn to a ready meal instead of this, that, or the other. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things. But if your life means that you don't have the money or the time, and you're stressed out because of your life, so you're not even thinking about your food choices, there can be an awful lot to contend with. There is a reason, potentially, you look at, the sort of housewives of Beverly Hills, they're all very slim, but they haven't got anything else to do. It's a job.
Except exercise.
They exercise, they've got trainers, they've got nutritionists, they get their meals delivered, they've got this, they've got that,
Yeah. I mean, Ian, you're very slim. Is that through work, effort and conscious decision?
I was a very fat child. When I was 12, I had a 38-inch waist and I was exceedingly short.
Oh, sweet.
And I went on diet, and I went from fatty, then the next term I went back to school, I was lanky. And it was only later on in life, and a lot of gym, a lot of hard work, a lot of realising what I put in my body. It's like you put the wrong petrol in the car, it's not going to run very well. You've got to put the right food in. But I'm not fanatic about it, I just eat sensibly.
And when you watch other people, can you see from your vantage point of a long, lanky, tall, thin person that they're eating for reasons which are not hunger, other reasons?
Patently, sometimes, when I started my business, I used to stop at the motorway service areas, and Little Chef, I think it was, and you'd see people struggling back to their table with a plate which was like a mountain of food, and yet if I have too much food on my plate, I can't eat anything.
Just puts you off completely.
Just puts me off, but
Yes, I know. I always wanted to be the person that shunned the dessert trolley. I was always, I couldn't, fill myself with that cream. Oh, that sugar. Oh, all those preservatives. No, I could, but I've never been that. I've always been the person that says a Dunkin' donut, bring it on, a Krispy Kreme, let's have it. I've never been able to educate myself to the point where I genuinely don't want it. I always do want it, but why? I'm not really sure. Emotional deficiency.
Because people say they forget to eat lunch. You think, what?
How? I've never forgotten to eat a meal in my life.
No.
But sugar is as addictive as cocaine, isn't it, they say?
Well, I wouldn't know that.
No, I mean, but
know.
that's what they say. No, nor would I, actually, just to be quite clear. But they do say that.
Yes. Well, do you think sugar is addictive, Jemma?
I think I was eating a yoghurt the other day, trying to make a healthy choice, start the day with a bit of protein. And I looked and it had sugar in it. And I felt really annoyed, actually, because I thought I'd made a good choice. There's hidden sugar everywhere.
Yes.
And I think that doesn't help matters. My granny used to put about 9 sugars in her tea. I mean, she was quite plump. And but I mean, I remember drinking that as a kid and thinking that was normal. I don't do any sugar in my tea now. You can change things like that. And when you
Let's go to the phones, because Tobias is on the line in Hampshire. Hi, Tobias. Thanks for ringing. What do you think? Should the doctor say, mate, you're fat?
No, I believe it's totally wrong.
So what should the doctor do if you are patently overweight? What's the doctor meant to do?
Just say maybe check your diet, maybe check a little bit of something else. If you go to a doctor, you're expecting help from a health professional. That health professional cannot then, put you down. That'll upset your mental state. That can hurt you.
Well, it would hurt you, wouldn't it? Because I mean, certainly when you're overweight, you do know it, but you're always hoping you're fooling some of the people some of the time by wearing excellent sort of restrictive underwear. You've chosen a black dress. You're hoping that, you're really, somehow or other you're showing them you're as slim as you're really not, Tobias. So yes, you make an excellent point. Thank you for calling.